What's good, you guys? It's your boy Prince, and today we have a video that's been a long time coming. Pretty much everyone's been asking for it. Everyone and their grandma has been asking for this video, and that is the Tiandi guide part 2. So today we're going to be going over some of the most requested stuff, flow like water, dodge attacks, mix-ups, all that good stuff. So with that being said, let's start off with all of Tiandi's dodge attacks and how to use them best. So to start off, let's go over one of the things that I hear people complaining about the most, which is that they try to use Tiandi's dodge light and it just doesn't work, as you can see. I'm trying to use it to dodge this move and yet I keep getting hit. So it just feels terrible, you know, it's like, what kind of dodge move doesn't dodge incoming attacks? And I'm just going to explain why that happens and how you can fix that problem. And basically the way Tiandi's dodge attack works is it doesn't actually have any dodge on the actual attack. So when you dodge incoming attacks with this move, what you're actually doing is just doing a regular dodge and then pressing light afterwards. So the dodge part of your move doesn't actually come from the light, it comes from your regular dodge. So what you actually want to do is what I just did there. You want to wait a little bit before you press light button. So you kind of press X, you wait a tiny little bit, like that, and then you press R1. And this way you're going to be consistently dodging. As you can see, boom, that top heavy, easily dodged. Whereas if I did it the way I did it before, by just instantly pressing it, as you can see I get hit. So yeah, this is a really important thing to learn. With Tiandi, you absolutely have to delay your dodge attacks. Well, your R1, you don't have to delay your heavy one, but you have to delay this one. So one thing that's really good about Tiandi's dodge light is that it can punish a lot of moves that usually most characters wouldn't be able to punish. So as you can see, for example here, Blackfriar's shield bash is probably one of the hardest moves to punish in the game. As you can see, he could dodge straight away there. If I tried to guard break him after dodging this, as you can see, you can easily counter guard break. And most characters' dodge attacks are way too slow to punish this. He'll be able to block straight away. But Tiandi is one of the few characters who actually has a fast enough dodge attack to punish this straight away. So try to keep that in mind against those characters with really hard moves to punish. You're one of the only characters in the game who can actually punish this stuff. Another example of this is Lawbringer's shove. And I don't know, there's some other really safe moves in the game, but Blackfriar's bash is definitely the best example. And I am doing the thing I just gave you guys a tip about not doing. I was not delaying my dash light there. There you go. This is actually a perfect example too of why you always want to delay your dash light a little bit, because as you can see when I wasn't delaying it, yep, I just get hit by the bash. So you definitely have to do a slight delay there. But yeah, keep it in mind, it's one of the best moves for punishing stuff. It's very good, very fast. Now another very important move, or not move, but a very important tip about Tiandi is I see a lot of people complaining about running out of stamina way too fast on Tiandi, and that's going to be a problem no matter what. However, you can make it a little easier to manage your stamina. And one thing I see a lot of people doing is this. And if you look on the bottom right, you'll see that I just used 41 stamina. And what I did there was just do a dodge heavy and then cancel it into a dodge immediately. So that's a dodge soft thing. As you can see, that cost me 41 stamina to do. Now that's a lot of stamina. That's a huge chunk of stamina just for doing one cancel, right? So why am I mentioning that? It's because you should basically never ever do this for any reason. I honestly can't think of any reason to ever cancel it into a dodge. It kind of looks cool, I guess, it looks smooth, but it's just not worth doing because it uses up so much stamina. Whereas if I did it with just a regular feint, as you can see, 22 stamina. So that is almost half as much you're literally doing twice as much stamina for doing it with a dodge. Whereas if I do it like this, as you can see, it's not using anywhere near as much stamina. So you always want to feint your dodge heavies with the dodge, with the feint button, not the dodge button. Actually, let me just do a demonstration. Let's see how many I can do with the feint button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could do 5 of those. And now let's get my stamina back and see how many I can do by dodge canceling. Okay, I messed up there. As you can tell, I don't really do the dodge cancel a lot, so I don't really have the muscle memory down. So I did 3 of those and ran out of stamina on the 4th cancel. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and I'm out of stamina. So I could do 2 more dodge heavies, but just always dodging out of the heavy attack. So I can't stress how important it is to never ever cancel with a dodge. Maybe in the future, by the time you're watching this video, they'll increase your stamina pool so you can do this more, or make it cost less stamina. But as of right now, you always want to cancel these. It's just so much less stamina. It makes it a lot easier to play this character. Now this next step I'm going to show you guys is a little bit of an advanced one, but basically there's a lot of situations in this game where your dodge heavy actually doesn't land. As you can see, even though I tried to punish that shove, Lawbringer could easily block it every time, because he has very good recovery on it. And there's a lot of moves like this in the game that just have super fast recovery. And there's actually a trick to beating moves like that with Tiandi's dodge heavy, and that is this. So you can feint your dodge heavy into a palm strike, and the best way I can explain why this works is in this game you can, how do I explain this? Basically, in this game you can recover faster to block than you can to dodge. So you might be able to block straight away, but still have a little bit of a delay before you can dodge things. Dodge things. So basically, in these situations, the Lawbringer recovers in time to block my dodge heavy. As you can see, not that time. That time it was a bit early. But as you can see, most of the time he recovers in time to block it. However, he does not recover in time to dodge. So that's why this is a very good punish to these types of moves. Or if you just see a situation where your opponent would have recovered in time, it's very good to just feint into palm strike, and just like that you get to punish moves that usually you wouldn't be able to punish. So there are some moves in this game that have a very high recovery on them. One good example is Shugoki's Hug. As you can see, it has a crazy high recovery. I can pretty much just guard break it every time. And sometimes you might see yourself dodging one of these with a dodge heavy, like this. Now as you can see, that gives me 25 damage. However, there are some situations where you might actually want to feint the dodge heavy instead of letting it go. So as you can see, 25 damage for that. And I feinted, and instead I got 30 damage, right? Now both of those were guaranteed. So both times I was absolutely guaranteed to get either my guard break or my successful dodge heavy. But the guard break gives me a little bit more damage. This is just one of those situational awareness kind of things where you'll want to feint your move if you think you'll get a bit of extra damage for doing so. And of course you can even throw your opponent into the wall. Boom, you get 35 damage. So up next, this is a bit of an advanced one again, but I hear a lot of people complain that they get hit way too often during Tiandi's dodge heavy, just like what you saw there. I'm trying to do my dodge heavy and I'm just getting hit out of it by this JJ every time. Obviously it's very annoying if you feel like you should be able to punish him since you're doing a dodge move, but he just keeps hitting you out of it. It does happen quite often, especially against characters like JJ. There you go again. So he just hit me out mid-dodge heavy. However, Tiandi does have a counter to this as well. It's quite simple. There you go. You just feint into parry, and you actually see me do this quite a lot in my videos. However, as you can obviously tell, this is a bit of an advanced move, since you do need to parry these lights. And especially if you're fighting someone like Orochi who can throw out those really quick light attacks, it might be a safer bet to just do something like this instead. So you can just feint straight into another dodge light. This is also something you'll see me do in my videos all the time. So if you're afraid that you are going to get hit out of your dodge heavy mid-dodge, you can just do this. And not only does it work very well for people trying to hit you out of your dodge lights, your dodge heavies, it also looks really sick when you pull this off. So yeah, if you're confident in your ability to parry that follow-up move, then do that. However, otherwise you can just go for a quick dodge light, or you can just play it safe and just block like this. That's always a safe bet. So that's pretty much all you really needed to know about Tiandi's dodges and dodge moves. There will be some more advanced stuff later on, but now I want to go into Tiandi's palm strike mix-ups. And I just want to demonstrate something to you guys real quick. As you can see, Tiandi's palm strike from neutral, just the regular one, is completely reactable. All you have to do is dodge as soon as you see the orange. I just messed up there because I'm talking, but the point is this is very reactable, especially if you're looking for it. Obviously people get hit by it sometimes because they'll be expecting something else, they'll be waiting for a light attack or something like that. But if you're just sitting here waiting for the orange to show up like I'm doing, it's a very reactable move. I can consistently dodge it every time. So people thinking that the best way to play Tiandi is just doing this, that's not gonna work. You're gonna get dodged a lot and you're gonna get punished a lot. You can try to mix it up by feinting into it first and stuff like that, but at the end of the day it's still gonna be reactable, and good players are just gonna sit there and wait for the orange and then punish you every time. So why am I telling you this? Well, there is a way to kind of go around this. There is a way to make palm strike a little bit better and a little bit harder to react to. And that's by delaying it a little bit. You can basically make palm strike come out a little bit faster by delaying it if it's in a chain of any kind. So for example, that was a delayed palm strike there. Now I don't know if you guys can tell the difference between the regular one, like that, and the delayed one, but it has a much faster startup. And the reason this is important is because when you're fighting opponents that can consistently react to the regular one, and they're dodging this every single time, this is actually the best way to get someone opened up, is by doing this, and then delaying it a little bit, and then hitting them with that delayed palm strike. Obviously the top of the top players will still be able to react to this, but it's pretty rare that someone can consistently react to that. However, the problem with that is, in order to get into your delayed palm strike, you have to hit someone with a light attack. So you have to hit them with a light and then go into your palm strike. And let me just get this Tiandi to throw lights. As you can see, that's not going to work against good players because they're just going to sit here and block all of your light attacks, so you can't get into your delayed palm strike. Because I'm just going to do this, and there you go. How are you going to delay your palm strike now? I'm just going to keep blocking your lights. So this is where the flow like water mix-ups come into play. Now, this isn't some kind of 100% guaranteed way of opening your opponents up. And again, Tiandi still isn't just very good overall offensively, even with this mix-up that I'm about to show you. But it can help a little bit against good players like this, that are just dodging your lights. Blocking your lights, dodging all your palm strikes. You just can't open them up. So I'm going to show you guys where my flow like water mix-ups and my style of playing kind of how I like to use it basically. So as you can see, what you want to do with Tiandi is basically just throw out that chained palm strike. But as I just showed, against good opponents, they're just gonna block your light attack every time. And if they block that light opener, then you can't get into your delayed palm strike. So the way you can get around this, using flow like water, is what I like to call the budget Black Prior 50-50. Now if you guys don't know what Black Prior's 50-50 is, what it can do is it can hit you with a light attack, or with a light attack, so miss a light attack, and then he either has his chained heavy, which is an undodgeable that he can throw out, and it will track your dodge if you try to dodge, and if you stand still and wait for the undodgeable, he can throw out his shield bash. So that's kind of Black Prior's main 50-50. He obviously has a few other mix-ups, but that's his main one. And Tiandi can kind of do his own little budget version of this. Basically, the exact same idea as Black Prior. What you want to do is you miss your light attack, and then you either go into Palm Strike, or you go into your undodgeable. So if your opponent was sitting there waiting for a Palm Strike, then they're probably going to dodge, and that's when you can catch them with this. And if your opponent's sitting there waiting for the undodgeable, then you hit them with that delayed Palm Strike. So this is Tiandi's main 50-50 in my opinion, if you have a good opponent that's just dodging all of your Palm Strikes. So that's why you will see me whiffing my light attacks a lot. Now this isn't some kind of guaranteed way, again, of opening people up. The main reason for this is, as you can see this bot doing, all you have to do is walk backwards, and you're basically out of range of this mix-up. So you have to try to get your opponent to be walking towards you when you do this. And one very good way of doing that is just to kind of mix it into your mix-ups, like that. Something like that, just feinting a heavy, then whiffing the light, then going into your 50-50. It's good, it's not perfect, but it can work. And it will make it a little bit harder to react to your Palm Strike because you're delaying it. And of course, if you do hit someone with that dodge light, then you can go into your delayed Palm Strike again. So this is why you'll see me whiffing stuff a lot. This is basically the budget Black Prior 50-50. Black Prior's one is much better obviously, but this can kind of work. Now just keep in mind when you're doing this, you'll want to be throwing out the top undodgeable most of the time, since it has really good range, whilst the side ones not so much. So as you can see, this time they're landing, but there you go, a lot of the time they'll miss. So you'll want to be throwing out the side ones most of the time. However, this can be a bit of a problem, because if you're throwing out the top one a lot, then your opponent's going to be expecting that. They're gonna know, okay, if he's missing a light, he's probably gonna be throwing out that top light at me, he's probably trying to do his mix-up. And this is why you see me do this a lot. So if that guy was expecting me to do this, to try to catch his dodge, a lot of the time I'll actually be doing a forward dodge heavy. That was meant to be a forward dodge heavy. There we go. And if they were trying to parry that light attack, this will just go straight through, get me a free heavy, and I get to flow into my 400 millisecond light. So it's a very, very good way to deal with people who are just sitting there waiting for that top light. Just have that threat of throwing out the top heavy instead, and they'll be a bit more scared to parry. Just keep that in mind, it's a very good option for that. So that's pretty much all you needed to know about the whiff light mix-up. But now let's talk about the whiff heavy mix-up, which is also something you'll see me using quite a bit. Now, with this one you can't really go into any bash of any kind, like you can with light. So with this one, it's not really for opening people, it's more for baiting people and for trying to make people do something that you can react to. So you'll see me do this a lot in my videos. I'm just kind of sitting here hoping my opponent presses a button. They try to throw a light or a heavy, or maybe they try to do a dodge attack on me, something like that. And you can use this move essentially to punish people trying to punish you for missing your heavy. So there's a lot of examples of this, but you can do some really cool stuff with this, especially if you feint into the heavy first. So you do something like heavy feint into with heavy, and you can then go into a dodge attack or crushing counter, all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's mostly just a move to bait people into making some kind of mistake and then punishing them for it. But it's definitely a very good thing to have in your arsenal, especially if you're trying to pull off those fancy crushing counters, because this is pretty much my favorite way to get crushing counters, is to whiff a heavy and then use flow like water, go straight into that dodge light, crushing counter your opponent, and yeah, just really style on them. Now, even though flow like water is really good for going into dodge attacks, sometimes what I like to do is just use it to do a standard dodge, just dodge without following it up with any special attacks. Just to pressure your opponent. Sometimes it can be a really good pressure tool. You'll see me do this a lot as well. I just throw a heavy down and then dodge towards my opponent. They'll be expecting me to do a dodge light or dodge heavy or something, and while they're standing there expecting me to do something, maybe I'll just throw a palm strike instead, or throw a light that they didn't expect, that kind of stuff. Or I can even go straight into my whiff mix-ups right after that, so I can dodge in, then dodge out, and go back in, that kind of thing. So just this is more of like a little bit of an advanced thing, because you have to know when it's a good idea to do an empty dodge like that. It's also very good for punishing opponents, so you can, for example, miss a heavy attack, then just do an empty dodge and then go straight into a guard break. You don't always have to follow it up with a dodge attack. You will get a lot more damage if you do a guard break instead. And lastly, you also see me do an empty dodge when I'm low on stamina. So let me just do something like this. Okay, I used up a little bit too much stamina that time, so we do 4 feints. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go in, guard break, and then I'll just do an empty dodge with flow like water backwards, just to get a bit of distance between me and my opponent, and have some time to regenerate my stamina. So as you can see, boom, low stamina, use flow like water, back out, get yourself some space, and then get your stamina back. It's very good for that as well. So yeah, just keep in mind you don't always have to follow it up with an attack. Sometimes it's a good idea to just dodge for the sake of dodging, and it can be a very good mix-up tool to confuse your opponent a little bit as well. So now we're going to get into some of the more advanced tips and tricks you can learn with Tiandi. This is some stuff that you won't really be doing all the time, but it's just some really good information to know with Tiandi. It's some of the more advanced tips. So one of my favorite things to do, and something you'll see in a lot of my videos, is just trading with characters that can throw out armored attacks, and then immediately following it up with a dodge. So as you can see, if I just try to hit a carry out of this top heavy, she gets hyper armor, or I think this is a male one. He gets hyper armor, and he just gets a bunch of damage on me. So it's very risky. However, what I can do if I see a Hitokiri doing this, is do that. So as you can see, even though he's using an armored move, thanks to the power of flow like water, I can actually just punish him, even though I just traded with him. So you can actually trade with Hitokiri and still dodge in time before the armored move hits you. And this is true for a lot of characters. You'll see me do this against Highlander, you can do it against Shigoki, you can even do it against Raider. So it's just a really good thing to remember, that you can actually use flow like water to safely trade with armored attacks. So this next one is kind of difficult to demonstrate, but there is another trick to do with flow like water, which you can use against people, and that is using your dodge block. Now, again, this is quite difficult to show because the timing on it basically has to be perfect. But essentially, there you go. I just did it. I just did it there. It's very difficult to do, so you won't see me pulling it off a whole lot. But what I just did was I blocked JJ's heavy attack, even though I just traded with him and my guard was in a different direction. So you're probably wondering, how the hell did you block that? That should have hit you, right? Because that should have hit me because I just traded with an armor move. But what I actually did was dodge straight into the direction of the incoming heavy. And the reason this works, even at the very last second, is because Tiandi actually has his guard pop up in whatever direction he dodges. So in case you guys haven't noticed, as soon as you dodge in a direction, your guard moves to that side. And you can use this to essentially save yourself in some situations when you're trading with armor. It does have to be done at a very, very precise timing. That's why I'm not really able to show you a whole lot, because it's quite difficult to recreate. But I did just get a nice example over there, so you should get a general idea for what it's like when it works. Again, this is just for those situations where you don't have enough time to dodge away because you're about to get hit with that heavy. You don't have enough room to dodge out of the way, so you can try to instead dodge into the attack as it's about to hit you and get a free block, because Tiandi gets a block on his dodges. So yeah, that's just a good thing to keep in mind. So there you go. That took me a while of practicing, but I just did it again there. So it is a bit of a tricky move to pull off, especially trying to demonstrate it, since you basically have to be throwing your heavy before JG starts throwing his heavy. But it is a very, very good thing to know, since you do get in a lot of those situations where you're like, oh crap, there you go, see, I did it again. We're like, oh crap, I'm about to eat this heavy, he's got hyper armor. But you can use that dodge to save you in the last second. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the last advanced tip I had for Tiandi. So now I'm just gonna show you guys some gameplay, demonstrating a lot of the stuff that I was talking about. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Victory!